Hello, and I'm here with Debbie Flynn. Today, I'm super excited. It's episode number 8 of Look Who's Here for a Chat, Debbie Flynn. So it's all good. So the reason I call that it's all good is because that's my favorite cup. It's just as simple as that. And that's my motto. Every time there's something that's happening and I can't change the situation, I say, it's all good. It's all good. Because when it's good, when you have this mentality, you can always enhance your life and go for the better, enhance the different things and make it really good. So right now, what I'm doing as I'm looking sideways is I'm just changing the wording in Lincoln where you're looking at this so that you see who's there and what's going on. Now I'm turning that off and I'm all yours. And so the reason why I do these video live is because I meet through my networking, I meet a lot of amazing people. And sometimes people touch me more than others. And when they touch me, I figure that they might be touching you too, and you might benefit from what I've learned from them. And that's why I want to share their gems and their secret so that they're not hidden gems so much anymore, but that you get to know them as I got to know them too. And a lot of time in those video live, I also get to know so much more about that person personally. And I think that's absolutely amazing. And as a serenity expert, I usually try to find people that are like generating good thing around themselves, generating positive energy, and that wants to help humanity and that wants to help the people around them. So Debbie is one of those people. So I'm super excited to introduce Debbie Flynn. She gave me a little bio, which I'm going to read right now. So Debbie became a journalist and photojournalist after a life-changing conversation with a woman photojournalist photographing kids at the local pool Debbie and her son were swimming at. Debbie was a single mom and figuring out her next step. Over the years, she learned to photograph from her heart while capturing people's lives event, freelancing for magazine, and creating photo for exhibition. She became a photographer teacher because of her own experience taking awful photo when she started using her phone camera. Yeah, these phone camera, they great pictures, but sometimes you have to know what you're doing with them. She now teaches online photography courses and instructs at Vancouver Island University. She's transformed hundreds of photographers into taking photo they love. So I'm super excited to have you here, Debbie. If you'd like to add a little bit to that, introduce yourself a little bit more, and then after that, we'll get started with the conversation.
Yes, thank you so much, Denise. I'm very happy to be here and that you're doing these interviews with people. Is that I really believe that we really need to be coming from a place these days of being in service and helping
Mm-hmm.
others. And I am so happy that I get to do what I love doing and to be able to be in service that way through photography and to see, you know, this my students light up when they suddenly get it. Before it
Yeah.
being, oh no, I don't want to touch it, not don't want anything to do with it, even though they have the latest, greatest, maybe. And then to see where they come to after, in just even one class, it's just they're suddenly touching and tapping and showing me, bringing their phone up to the screen, and it's really amazing to see. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I can see that because even though, now the phones, I mean, they're better than the little box camera we used to have, right? And
Yes, yeah.
but the thing is, we just rely on it. We just take a picture and that's it. But there's adjustment. There's thing. I imagine that's what you teach in your course. There's a judgment,
Yeah.
little tweak that we can do that I have no idea what to do. Maybe I should take your course. And I have no idea how to do, and I just rely on automatic and click, click, click. But I'm sure
Yeah.
while doing your
Yeah.
course, people can get a lot out of how to use their camera properly and get better
Yes.
photo out of
Yeah.
that.
It is. It is still a camera. I know that's what fooled me. So I picked it up. I thought, oh, this will be easy. I'll just snap a quick photo. And then seeing the results, it was like, oh my God. And I'm a professional. Yeah, it was really humiliating. And
Oh.
I learned a lot from it because there are the same features on your phone camera as there is on a regular camera. And they keep
Mhm.
getting better and better. Like it just incredible what they can do.
And
Yeah.
how do you
So
keep up yourself? Because I mean, each camera, each
I
phone is,
I know. I don't keep up that way. I used to try. I'll do it all. I'll understand what everything is on every camera and every phone. But now I refer people. I give them great links so they can go and they can learn about the features. It's the same features but different languages on different phones.
Mhm, mhm.
So cropping is standard, flash is standard, but
Yeah.
understanding where the filters are and yeah, just other features. It takes time, but once they know they have the resource and they can go there, then they'll have everything they need in order to keep going in the class. Yeah.
No, that's great. That's great. Just understanding the basic of photography, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
but it's so much more.
so what is the what is so what is most important key of taking memorable photo then? What do people really have to know?
This is something that I really encourage people to remember because at the end of the day, your photo counts.
Mhm.
One photo, a photo counts. And we're so prolific. We're out there constantly taking photos all the time, and we're surrounded with photography and visuals. But it's really, I help people to remember to come back and be present to what it
Mhm.
is unfolding in front of them and why they want to be taking that photo. You'd be coming from that passion to remember, um, to see, to experience, so that they can experience it later. And for the viewers, that are going to be looking at those photos afterwards, they'll be getting the same experience. Whereas if you have a photo that was just taken, and there is that type of photography where you're documenting, maybe you're traveling or you're at a restaurant and you just want to remember that place, that's fine. But when it's really you're being more artistic or it's something that you really want to convey what you're feeling, then it's always best if you come from a place of really being present to
Mhm.
begin with and asking yourself why you want to take the photo, why what it means to you and what moves for you when you're looking at what's there in front of you and just giving yourself that time. And eventually it can get to so that you can do it very, very quickly, just instantly bring yourself in. But um, once people understand that,
Yeah.
then they're able to just be able to express themselves the way they want to express themselves. Because especially these days, that's how I've been helping people as well, is allowing them to be able to express how they're feeling as we've been moving through COVID. And it doesn't always need to be pleasant or happy or no, I got to just be positive about it. People are grieving and people are going through
Mhm.
tremendous stress right now. So this is a way, an artistic way for them to be able to move through it. And I've done projects with students, it's like stepping out the door when COVID is over, or the first thing I'm going to do when I can travel again, the first place I'm going to travel. And, it's just, they can be very, very creative with how they want, what they want that to look like, but also moving through where they are right now to be able
Mhm.
to just really go in and then to be able to see that for themselves. They don't need to share their photos with anyone else. They can keep them for themselves. Although, I mean, most of us do share our photos, but I always hear that too. So just to move a little bit past that, I hear a lot. Um, I just want to become a better photographer.
Mhm.
So, but the key for me is to keep people in a place of really understanding, being present, and asking themselves why. And from that, once they can gain the tools, which I help them with, the technology to understand how to use cameras and how to edit their photos. And also, what is it that makes the great photographers exceptional photographers? You know,
Mm.
you think of them. Um, you think of like Ansel Adams, and we have some great Canadian photographers like Freeman Patterson, and they are extraordinary. And there are fundamental principles that they use that I help my students to understand so that they can apply them to their own photography when they're out and about.
Oh,
So
cool,
it's
cool.
yeah,
So, what do, because you mentioned earlier about really letting your emotion out, and whether you're sad or happy, and being able to portray that inside your pictures. And but what do you portray when you're present, which mean that I imagine you take the emotion that you have now and you want to move it forward. So how does that come across?
it's by allowing yourself to just be in that place so that when you're, and yes, you do have to set up the photo. You're not just, okay, I'm just going to take it from here and it's going to be at this level and I'll just, that's what we all do. It's about giving yourself time to walk around, and maybe it's even to move just an inch away
Mm-hmm.
from where you were, or to get down, to get up. Maybe there's a better vantage point. Maybe there's a better way of expressing it through using light, colors. You know how colors evoke different emotions in us. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
wearing cool colors today, so it's more soothing. And whereas if you have, your warm colors, your oranges, your reds, your yellows, then it's like, oh, happy, vibrant.
Like my cup.
Yes, exactly.
Cheer me up every day. I drink my water out of that cup. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
it's all good.
yeah, yeah, it's very uplifting.
Yeah.
And so it is a combination, but it always starts with, why do you want to take this photo?
Mm.
And so that later as well, when you're looking back on it, all the memory comes vividly back in. And I help people to create photo books as well that hold their special stories from their photos, and where they can include the written word as well in the photo book, so that they're telling their special stories. And that's what our photos are meant to do.
Mm.
So like I think of Ansel Adams, and he would pre-plan, and then he would go and spend weeks in the national parks in the US. It's not that he just went out the door and said, okay, I think I'll take a drive today, and just, hunkered in somewhere that looked kind of good, and then, took a few hours to photograph. No, there was really all this planning that he did beforehand.
Hmm.
He knew exactly what he wanted. Um, and he was brilliant.
So how
And
so
then
how do
afterwards,
people plan to make photography? Because I hear that, and I know people a lot of time they'll be walking outside and just going to, they feel like, oh, that's my new printer singing to me. Why is it printing? Be quiet. I just bought a printer today and I don't know what it's doing. I
oh,
don't
you
hear
got
it.
like a smart printer. It's
Yeah, well,
voice
it seems like
controlled.
it's making noise on its own. Anyway, sorry if you heard that noise, everyone. Um, talking about everyone, if you're watching this video, just say hi in the chat, and don't be shy to ask question if you have question for Debbie, because I'm sure she'll be happy. I can see the chat here, and I think you can see it too, Debbie, perhaps on
Yeah,
the
I
side.
can see it.
And
Yeah.
so don't be shy to ask question. We're happy to say hi, say where you're from, and we'll be happy to reply to you. And also, this is on YouTube, so you can type comment on YouTube, and we'll get back to you also. But what I was going to say, you say, like when you plan a photographic session, like not
Yeah.
just to walk out the door, but to plan. So how do someone plan for
Yeah.
something like that? How do you get ready or get planning? I can't even imagine what's involved in that,
Yeah. So there's
without giving
two
me
different
like
things.
a one-on-one of photography.
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is we have our phone camera with us all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and there's always opportunities to take photos. So it's more in that understanding, oh, I've got these tools and I know how to set up my camera. Maybe it's too dark, so you'll know how to use your flash, or you'll know what the filters do, or you'll understand, oh, I've got three lenses, like the newer phones have three lenses now. Which lens? Oh, I need a wide angle. But it's to understand your gear. So you've got all that first. And
Mm-hmm.
then you feel comfortable and confident. So when you pick up your camera, you can go, oh, yeah, now I can just focus on why I want to take this photo, because I understand how to use what the tools are, what my camera is capable of, in order to technically create the photo that I want.
Mm. So
And
that would
that's,
be, for example, excuse me, if you look at a scenery and you say, "Oh, that would look so much better in a wide angle than on a regular flat or whatever you call them, a small one,"
yeah, that's
then
right.
you say, "Oh, let's turn on the wide angle camera and let's take, or is that what you mean? Like knowing your
Yeah.
tools and being able to analyze the scenery and say, "Oh, let's play with this and that."
Yeah, it's
Mm.
yeah, so you're reaching into your camera bag, except you don't have a lot of clip-on lenses or
Yeah.
filters. You're taking your phone and you're just going, "Oh yeah, I need to put that on my lens, filter on my lens, or I need to switch to this lens. I need to crop the photo, I need to focus it in a certain place." And so once you understand, and it's pretty easy, but they don't come with very good manuals. That's what I find. And even when there are things that I don't understand, and I'm looking and Googling and YouTubing, and it's just, it's the information is not out there. I don't know why. It's so weird. Um,
It might be
there
because it
is some
changed
good.
too quickly, right? It changed too quickly, and then there would be a waste of time for them to put it all
Yeah,
together and to send it,
yeah,
to the,
yeah,
to create a
yeah.
manual every time they make an upgrade.
That is so true. Yet, the basics of photography are the same, whether you're using a phone
Yeah,
camera or you're
yeah.
using a regular DSLR, or you're a lensless, a mirrorless type camera. Like, they're the principles are the same. You need to understand how to use light. You need to understand how to compose, and what makes for a good what the elements are. You need to declutter. Because we think, oh, we're thinking 360 degrees when we're looking in front of us. I want to capture it all. But you can't. The lens is just not going to do it. So there is that limitation. It goes from, we're in three-dimensional, but you're going to one-dimensional with your camera. So how do you really define that? And I think that, I encourage people to find photography they really appreciate and enjoy, and just
Uh-huh.
study it. What is it about this photography that compels me, that's so interesting? Like, what are they doing? And maybe you're into gardens. I know a lot of people here are, and I live beside the ocean, so there's that as well. Or maybe you love sports. Maybe your dog, when you're out walking with your dog. Like, I
Hmm.
had one student and she had hundreds of photos of her dog, but they were really good. But that's what she photographed, her
Yeah.
dog. um, and that's the best place to come from. What do I really enjoy photographing?
So how
Yes.
would
And I also,
someone? Oh, continue.
yes,
Finish your line of thought.
I'm just going to get into talking about portraits and taking photos
Mm.
of people. So most people don't like having their photos taken. It's very, for many, many reasons. And the psychology of that is something I've worked with I've been a photographer for 35 years and photographing people for that time. And the best way to take photos of people is to have them in an environment they feel really good about. And knowing that afterwards, you're going to be saying, do you like this photo? Can I share it? And not just taking it and posting it, even if it's a group and you've said, yeah, we just did this or did that. Really, I think it's respecting what they want to do and their
Uh-huh.
wishes, because photos can go anywhere, and that is not a good thing. People just grab them and think it's okay, I'll just add it to my newsletter. It works even on websites, it works, but without regard for where it came from. And then when you're seeing photos of people and they're not a good photo, it's just not a nice thing to do, right? So it's
No, for
always
sure, for
best,
sure. It's all about respect, right?
yeah, and to really be taking care and doing the best you can. And if you're not good at taking photos of people, then the nicest thing you could do is learn to become a better people photographer
Yeah, yeah.
and study how to do that, right?
So,
If you've got grandkids or children or kids in sports, or you're taking trips, now that we can do that again, um, learn how to do them the very best you can.
but what if someone would like to, like, love taking photography, but they don't know how to take it to the next level? How would
Yeah.
someone nowadays can make a small living or maybe a huge living out of learning to become a better photographer?
Yes, they could do
How
that.
to
And
monetize that if necessary?
yeah, that's a whole different league. I mean, that's creating a business as well. And as you and I know, that it takes effort and time to create a business. So yes, you need to have the expertise and you need to have the experience that you bring to anything in order to be a good enough, expert in what you do. And then there's the whole part about being a business person as well.
Yeah.
And that, an entrepreneur, because that's usually, photographers are kind of lonely wolves, right? We work on our own mainly.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
It's not like we're
is
pardon?
there places where people can, like there's places where you can, for me, I can buy images if I want certain image on my website.
Yeah,
Is there a place where people
right.
can start just by loving taking pictures, not necessarily people or wedding or whatever, but selling their own little picture that they've taken of nature or their dog and put that
I
somewhere on the
think there are
internet?
a lot. Yeah, I've heard of a lot. Um, there's stock photography, and then but I don't really keep up with that, but I know that
Okay.
they're available
There's
where
ways,
you can
yeah.
go and download your photos. And
Yeah.
yeah, but I would be cautious because I think there's a lot out there. And so if you can differentiate yourself in some way, and
Mm-hmm.
coming back to what is you love taking photos of,
Yeah.
that would, instantly differentiate you. If you just love doing, let's say, food photography, because I've had students that, I want to become a better photographer to photograph the food that I'm creating and making. And it's amazing what they can do afterwards, and how it's just so
Mm-hmm.
yummy. It's just like, I would invite me over. Yeah, I think that would be very helpful too. But to look at it as a way to just start making money is, and you need to specialize. Maybe you love taking, maybe it's weddings, maybe it's family portraits,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps it's pet photography, maybe it's still life, maybe it's landscapes. But to have this idea um, that, oh, no, I'll just create a website and let everybody know, and they'll come, they'll, put my photos up for sale and people will start buying them there.
It's not that
Usually
easy.
the website is the last place that people go.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
They're
Yeah, because
just
there's so
looking
many
to,
images now for free, right? Like
yeah,
that people can have online and all that. And
yeah.
okay, so what is one thing that can stop doing, that people can stop doing, that will be immediately changed the way they take pictures, like the big faux pas that everybody's doing that it can destroy your, not destroy, but not make such a wonderful picture. So what's the one thing people can do?
And stop comparing themselves to other photographers.
Hmm. It's I think that goes everywhere in life, not
Yes.
just in
That we
photography.
think, okay, I want to take a photo just like my sister takes. She's a really good photographer. I want to take, I want to be able to, or your husband, or your
Yeah,
child,
yeah.
your teen. It's like, nah, they're much better photographers than I am. I want to be able to photograph like they do. But when you're bringing your own view, your own way of seeing the world into it and
Mhm.
expressing it through you, that's the part that's truly marvelous, is to have that. I think that's really what we're longing for now, because there's so much um, inauthentic. It's been photoshopped and um, corrected, and it's not the real thing. And people get that because we're so visual and we communicate non-verbally. That's why photography is even more important. And we take in data. I think it's 87% of all the information we bring in is through visuals. So, it's so important that we consider how real the photography is that we're making. And the best way to do that is by being you. It's
Mhm.
not trying to copy somebody else. It's good to understand how others do their photography. And, and to know how to use your tools. I mean, that should become automatic.
Mhm.
But and then to understand the fundamentals too of great photography. How can I apply that here? And then bring it all together and just express you in a moment. Can you imagine if you're out and you're suddenly struck by something and you just allow yourself to just settle in for a moment and say, what is it about this that I'm so taken with,
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
really, really want to take this photo? And then just allow that moment to be. And
Mhm.
from there, just move around, find the best spot, you know, experiment, but really keep breathing in and remembering, oh, this is what I want to portray. And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
will come through. And even if it's not perfect, people they'll feel it, they'll experience it, they'll resonate with it. It'll just be like, oh, that happens all the time, where people are really being true. It's telling the truth. That's what they're doing. They're
Mhm.
telling their truth. It's, it, it's, we are not taken as much with, we filter it out. We blank out the photography or the visuals that just aren't real, you know, because they have these messages that are unconscious that we're taking in, and it just makes you feel bad
Yeah.
in some ways too. And the fact that, you see something, you see a magazine cover and the model is, they've done all this work on it, but yet you go, yeah, I'm not good enough, right? It's just, I really want people to be coming from a place of joy and love. So my intention for why I teach, where, my grand vision for it all is to bring more beauty and love to the world. And,
Mhm.
I help people do that with what they're sharing on their social media all the time, and to see where they were, where they started from, and then where they come to is just extraordinary,
Mm. And
because it's
and talking about where them taking pictures and all that, and I remember when we chatted last time, you mentioned that you had a new program coming up and
yeah,
about sharing your legacy, sharing special moment with others. So tell me more about that.
yeah, yeah. it's
That was
it's
very exciting.
called it's very exciting. I actually have two programs. The first is called the Photo Expressions Book, and it is about people being able to bring a collection of photos that are dear to them, that they want to tell a very special life story with.
Mhm.
And the reason I started offering it is because last Christmas I was doing a book for my son and daughter-in-law, and faced with all of these photos. So collections of photos on my computer, on my phone, and boxes, and just going, oh my God, where do you start with all of this? And what's the story going to be about?
Mm.
And then I started going through organizing them and realized it was about their love story
Mm.
for the past 10 years. And they had been, as a couple, they had been through life experiences that most people don't have until they're older. There was a very life-changing event for them, and they're very serious. You know, yeah, I don't want to go into a lot of detail,
Yeah,
but there were,
yeah.
and then there were a lot, and then there was, wondrous things too, getting married and the birth of their first child, and um, being able to go back through, and then it just made it so easy. It was just like everything started clicking. so that I could find that first photo, and then I could find the other photos, and it was so easy, to
Yeah.
just start bringing them in, and then I could write the story. But I didn't really write a big story. I just used description and captions.
Mm-hmm.
It does not need to be a lot of words. So people that are afraid to write, like every step of the way, I help people. Everything is included. Everything you need to complete in 5 weeks with a book that you can hold in your hands,
Wow,
that you can
that's
share.
cool. Because there's
Yeah,
like where you were saying you had a repertoire of pictures from all over, like every media too, right? Phone,
yeah,
computers, and paper pictures. And okay, what do I do with all of that? Like, but once you
yes,
find a theme, once you find a line where you want to go, then it's easy because then you can look for that theme within your pictures and then create something
yeah, yeah. It makes it
amazing.
so easy. Yeah. And that's how it goes throughout the entire 5 weeks of the course,
Hmm.
that you get all that you need. They have all that they need, and it's broken down so that it's easy. Like it's 12 pages. The book is 12 pages. It's a beautiful 10 by 10 coffee table, handcrafted
Hmm.
book, that they will have. Um, and I think what it does is it helps people that have really wanted to do it, but just said, I'll do it later. But what if you don't have later?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's, you know, you think, right? We're coming up to Christmas and spending time with family if we can. And some of those people possibly may not be there next Christmas.
Yeah.
And they may, and those stories that you don't know about, but you could ask them about still, it's possible now. Um, but anyways, because that's what we look at, right? That's our legacy. That's our life. That's our family. If it's going to be more a historical type of book, then you're looking at, past generations. But if it's just your generation or your family right now, or your life, and things, special things you've done, you never know. And, I heard this story about someone, they had created all of these books for an aging parent who ended up in the hospital in a
Hmm.
hospice. But those books were right beside them so that when people came in that told their stories,
Yeah.
they were looking through those photo books. It was so important to that person to
Yeah.
remember their life. That's how they were remembering their life.
Yeah.
It's so different. When you look at a photo, yes, you have memories, but when you look at a photo, it vividly comes back,
Hmm.
vividly.
For sure,
And I
because it's like
found,
you were right there.
yeah, yeah, I just, oh, I can't stress it enough. If you're waiting, when is it going to be the right time?
Hmm.
We don't have time, for that. It's like, wow. So yeah, it's a very, very, very well priced because it's a pilot. And although I haven't offered it before, I've done it before, and I have lots of experience with that for myself and for a
Hmm.
private client. But now I
Yeah.
want to bring it out to a group so that
Yeah.
you have people that are able to share with one another and tell their stories to one another, and build off, the excitement of, oh, what do you think I should do with this? Or how should I share that? There's all of that as well, getting that feedback and that creativity as well, which makes it even easier for people to be able to keep going.
Well, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. And I imagine that they can do it with all medium. Like for example, if they have, paper pictures or if they have digital pictures, you teach them
Yeah.
how to scan it properly and how to upload it and how to, put
Yeah.
it into the interface of that
Oh,
booklet.
yes. Yes. There's that whole piece. Yeah. So
Wonderful.
maybe I can speak a little bit about that. There would be a pre-planning session for us to really hone in on what the theme is going to be for their book
Yeah.
before we even start the course. And from that, they'll understand, they'll have the course outline, which goes into, every week we'll be looking at How do you lay out? What's the proper way to lay out? And yes, you talked about bringing all these photos together. They would bring their photos scanned so they're ready to go, but how to pick the best ones? Because we always go, I don't know which was a good one, which is a bad one. Well, like, that's why we have thousands of photos on our
Oh yeah.
phones. It's just, and to be able to understand how to quickly edit them too, and make sure that they're the proper photo, the right resolution, and good enough quality to be put in a book, and
Mm-hmm.
have that discernment too. What is the best photo of the people that you're using in the book, right? If it's the only photo you have, then yes, of course
Of
you'll be
course.
using that. But if you have, a number of photos you can choose from, how do you decide which is the best one? You
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
necessarily go with the one, well, everybody's got their eyes open. Yeah, but maybe somebody doesn't look very good in that photo. Coming back to when I was talking about that respect,
Mm-hmm.
right? For people, how do you do that? And there are ways to do it. Anyways, so and then I help people to be able to write too, because I'm a journalist.
Yeah.
So I have freelanced for a very long time. I've written for magazines. I've been published in books. Um, my photos have been published in books and magazines as well. So I bring that expertise to help people quickly and easily be able to tell their story. And I think, you get really excited. I get every time I talk about this to people, and they're going, "Oh, that reminds me, of my mom is turning 80, and I have been thinking about doing a book for her." And they instantly start telling me about the books that they want to create, because people
Mm-hmm.
have been thinking about it.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah,
of course. They just need
yeah.
to learn. So that's awesome. So what is the second course you were saying you had two going on?
Yes, it's film photography, and it's called Expressions One. And it's to help people, it's a 4-week program, and it helps people learn how to use all the tools on their phone cameras, and to be inspired with their photography, and to be inspired by exceptional photographers, and to feel that confidence at the end of the program, knowing that they can pick up their phone and they know exactly how to use it to get the photo that they want. Yeah, so they start
Wow.
making photos that are they're really proud of,
Mm.
and that they want to share right away. Yeah, so I've got that program as well, and it is 8 hours. It's a very there's a lot in it. I also teach the people how to edit using their editing app on their phone too, and because it's just amazing what this little tiny device is capable of doing,
Yeah.
and all
These
the
phones,
little
I mean,
cool,
it's incredible.
yeah, yeah, all the features and the icons, and it's just like,
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah. Well,
I know
that's super awesome.
I'm teaching tweeners right now through the library, and so they're wildly creative, right? Because they don't have those filters. Oh no, that wouldn't make a good photo. They're totally up for it. I was like, okay. I tell them when we're in the class, I want you to go, because my class are really hands on. That's the entire class, hands on. Um, I want you to go and take a photo right now, and I want you to get underneath something, or I want you to get right over top of it. And they bring me things that would never have ever thought of. I had the librarian even is doing it, and they had a castle, a Harry Potter castle, donated to the library. So when I'm teaching these tweeners, because it's through the library, and she went and photographed, and she went over the castle, and she was down, and you could see the Quidditch field down
Yeah.
below.
Oh, cool.
And she said, I didn't even know there was a Quidditch field there.
Yeah, because you don't really look at it, right? It's just that's super cool.
Yeah, I think it's more that it helps people to see in a very, very different way, rather than
Hmm.
just up here, at adult height. We're not even getting down to child's height or dog's height. It's everything same plane, and yeah.
Yeah,
So
you
yeah, and
see,
I love doing it.
yeah, you see, like image of photographer laying on the ground and, getting ready to take, pictures and playing with perspective, right? Like it looks like you would be like super big or, depending on the angle you take it or whatever. So there's so much to learn. I mean, it's a absolutely amazing.
Yeah. But you need once you have the foundation, as with anything,
Mm-hmm.
then you're set. And that's what I help people with. My courses are, I have expressions 1, expressions 2, then I have courses on more advanced photo editing and what else
So
have I done? I've done it for groups.
how can people
Yes.
reach you if they wanted to take those courses? Like, can you actually, we cannot really put it in the chat right now, but if you can send me that information and I'll put it back in the chat, and then people can reach you. And if you want to say it out loud now, maybe they'll write it down, or an email or a phone number. How does that work?
Sure.
Or website?
My website is almost done. And by the time this is live, it'll probably be ready to go. And it's Debbie
We're live.
Flynn Photography. It's debbieflynnphotography.com.
Okay.
And if they want to go to my website, there is a free giveaway on 7 tips to instantly transform your photos.
Oh,
If
wonderful.
people would like those tips on how they can quickly change their photos so that they're dramatically shifted with the tips,
Oh,
that's
awesome.
there too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then we can share. So I mean, your website will be ready shortly because we're live now.
My website will be ready today. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So by the end of the day, if you try to click on the website and it doesn't work, go back tomorrow and then you can download that freebie. And we'll also share that website on YouTube and LinkedIn, and whenever Facebook's working, we'll share that too. So
Yeah.
any last thought, Debbie, that you'd like to add? We're coming to a close.
Yes. So we have this idea that photography is a really serious subject, right? You see guys out there lugging the big long lenses and they look really like, I'm really important and I know what I'm doing. But I really want you to understand that it is an art, and to go out and be playful, to go out and play with your phone camera or your regular camera and just really have a good time with it.
Yeah.
That's what I want to leave
That's
people
a great
with.
advice. And especially nowadays, it's not like, not even that long ago, but let's say, when did film became sort of obsolete? 10 years, 15 years ago, perhaps?
Yeah.
So it's not
I
like
think it's even longer, maybe 20 years ago.
20 years. It's not
Well,
like you
no,
have
no.
only 20 pictures, that you can take.
Yeah,
And if you screw up,
yeah,
we have option
yeah.
now. We can take, if you look at it, I don't like it. Let's work this way. Oh, look at this. It looks so much better. And you can play, you can experiment. So that's the beauty of digital.
You can delete.
Really. But wait, I was told to not delete right away because you might not like it now, but like there's, of course, if it's totally flopped, that, but to ponder upon your picture sometime, because maybe later you'll have a better perspective on the picture itself, but who knows.
That's a good point. And that
Yeah,
is true. Yeah.
you can
Thank
always
you
delete
so much,
later.
Denise.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you
Well,
so much.
oh, that was such a pleasure. It was such a wonderful pleasure to have you here today. And as I was saying earlier, I'm doing this weekly, usually around 12 o'clock Pacific time, where I invite a guest. Today was Debbie Flynn, and I'm super excited. So check out the next few weeks. I'll be here at 12. And you can always check my YouTube channel, Denise Billil, where all the stream were there also of previous episodes. So thank you so much, Debbie. Thank you so much, the audience that are here listening. And I'm really happy that you were my guest today. And we'll put all the information in the chat for more information later.
Yeah.
Thank you.